The world is shifting and a new era of leadership is rising. There are healers, intuitive speakers, writers, creatives, and visionaries who are no longer willing to separate their inner knowing from how they live, work, and lead. They're building freedom-led businesses, creating meaningful movements, and living extraordinary lives rooted in purpose and truth. Breaking free from outdated ideas of who they're supposed to be and no longer hiding the gifts they were born to share. The old way asks us to conform. The new era asks us to remember. Your gifts are not your downfall. They are your greatest advantage. So welcome to the Intuitive Leader Untamed, for the multidimensional leader here to expand influence, impact, and leave a legacy that changes the whole damn world.
Hello, and this is the official first episode back to the Intuitive Leader Untamed podcast. Rebrand time. I am your host, June Mack, and I am someone that helps you to trust yourself and lead your life from your intuition. So help you to live a life in alignment based on the foundation of complete self-trust, which leads you into the most extraordinary lives, businesses, and just a life full of fulfillment. So welcome. I am so glad to be back. I guess the intro kind of describes what the new vibe is about. I've been feeling a bit of a rebrand, renaming coming on for quite a while, but just didn't know what it was. So I do not even know where to begin. It's been about 7 months. Oh gosh, it'll be 8 probably by the time this comes out since I've released a podcast episode. So I've been recording interviews and stuff for probably months now, but I've just been holding off, procrastinating, recording like my first episode back because my business has gone through so much. There's been so much going on behind the scenes. I've been trying to figure out new balances, how to balance it all, which is a good problem to have. But anyway, I expected to be back in January. Oh my goodness, the things that have happened, the deaths, the rebirths over and over again. Those of you who are in small business, those of you who are intuitively led, you're going to know that we are upgrading and things are happening all the bloody time. You're like, seriously? So I guess who this podcast is now for, it's not necessarily like the reason why I was no longer resonating with the Little Psychic podcast is because people tie the word psychic to so many different things. And I know that part of my mission is to change that, and that you can be psychic and you can be a lollipop lady. You can be psychic and work at a grocery store, at Coles, at Kmart. Like, it's not someone that knows the future. A psychic is someone that has the ability to tap into energy and potentially see like lots of different potential timelines that are to take place, and then help you to align with that potential timeline. That's more how I understand it. They can read the energy of relationships, situations, places, people's emotions, feelings, all types of things. But the intuitive leader, so what this is more so turning into is showing how being intuitive doesn't mean you're going to end up a psychic medium, right? And I've been talking about this for ages, and I've got so many clients that do so many different things, and that word psychic just tied it into too many things. And over the first probably like 3 or 4 months of 2026, a lot of what I was trying to do was trying to think of an umbrella term that described what it is that I do, because I have 2 main passion areas, and one of those things is self-trust, helping you to understand how your abilities work for you and using them to create this reality that is better than you could have possibly imagined. So using them within your life, and you don't have to have a spiritual business, right? And then there was this other side of me that loves working with entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs that are intuitively led, so awakens people. But both parts of those is using your intuition to create the life and or business of your dreams, basically in alignment with what it is that you came here to do, because all of us have a soul mission. All of us came here with this particular set of things that we are meant to achieve and to bring you to your most happiness. And there's no ifs, buts or about it. This is everybody. You have to be in alignment with what it is you came to do. Otherwise, you're never going to feel completely fulfilled. You have free will to turn your back on your soul mission. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to keep coming back to whatever that mission is, or those, ideas that keep popping in. And you're not going to feel completely content until you start following the nudges that are coming through. So that's where I come in. I help you to understand the nudges and use those and get the bravery, because it's all about the bravery, really. It's about being brave and courageous and taking those steps to actually then create the life and or business of your dreams. So there's going to be a multitude of different intuitive leaders that are going to be coming on. Some of them are my client. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Some of them are not. Some of them are just other intuitive leaders that I admire. Literally just started with a tickle in my throat at the beginning of this podcast episode. Is that a bad omen? Hang on a sec. I'm going to have to pause this so that I can just die. And the reason why this is called the Intuitive Leader Untamed is because I don't cut shit out. I'm keeping it real. So I cut out the actual dying of me coughing, but I'm not going to cut out the bit where I said, hold on, I'm just going to go die and cough. Anyway, I'm back. So I guess like what this episode is going to be a little bit about is the progression of my business and the things and my life that I didn't do, which are kind of busting the myths of what you should be doing to be successful in business, or, the word on the street that's out there. Like, you got to hustle to, be successful. You've got to work lots of hours. You've just got to work really hard and do things that you don't want to do. You're going to be chained to a desk. You're going to either sacrifice time with your family and your kids, or you do your business. And I'm here to tell you, fuck all that. That is absolutely not true. So I will come to all of those things. But first, you have to understand where I have been and what's been happening in the past, 8 months nearly. So this last financial year, for the first time, my business has hit 6 figures. And, for a family of 5, it's not like we're freaking got the money, cash it in our hands and flicking it out. We have a mortgage, we've got all these things to pay. But this has been my goal for years, probably years, that I just wanted to make consistent 10K months and reach my goal of a 6-figure business. And that would, mean that I've put in all this work over the past 6 years, and it was going to be worth it. But, it's funny because I catch myself there and I go, it's worth it regardless, because I'm helping people, and money is only the exchange for the impact that you've made in the world. And would I still do this even if I wasn't being paid? Absolutely. I would be burnt out of shit. And this is why you need a monetary exchange for the work that you do. And you should be paid abundantly for the work that you do if you're giving away great value. But something that I'm working on, and this new phase, and I'm going to be completely honest, is where I'm at, is I can talk about my clients all day about their achievements, how much money they're making, and that's how fucking awesome that is. I am not triggered by other people talking about money. But when I talk about myself and my own finances, you hear me backpedaling. Even then, I've made 6 figures instead of going, fuck yes, I made 6 figures. I've tried so fucking hard. I've literally gone to hell and back days, been in the depths of should I be doing this? I don't know if I can do this. I've worked so hard. There was so much work that I've put in that I have not been paid for, and it's not been about that. See, look at me backpedaling. I could have said all those things, but instead I go, oh, well, there's always more that can be made. It's not really a lot for a family of 5, especially if you're the sole, provider. But I'm downplaying how much it actually means to me. I went from a 9 till 5, busting my fucking ass, working 60 hours a week. I had hundreds of employees under me, absolutely killing myself, time away from my kids. I went from that to then starting, letting it all go. It was, on paper successful. I had a higher rank position. on paper, you would say it was successful. You know, it sounded good. I was like retail operations and training manager, but I was missing that soul fire. There was parts of it that felt good. But I knew that if when I was becoming a mum, 12 years ago, that job, that part of me had to die. And I was offered, higher positions, and I let it all go because to me, the time that I wanted to spend with my kids was, for me, more aligned. And I knew that something in me was calling me towards this entrepreneurship, right? It's not for everyone. Some other people, like their goals and their mission in life, is to be a mum and to work full time, but it just wasn't for me. Anyway, I went from that to then going out on a whim, jumping into intuitive development, not understanding where it was going, and now to have created this business. So in the last 12 months, so prior to that, the years leading up, I was very inconsistent with my income. Like some months I would hit 7K months. Sometimes I'd hit 2, sometimes 5. I was yo-yoing up and down. Nothing was consistent. I wasn't putting my all in. Like I had my husband to rely on, and I feel like that helped me back to a degree because I was like, oh, well, I'm doing most of the looking after the kids, so I'm not going to put all my energy into, my business, which I still, anyway, that was a limiting belief that I had. But in the last 12 months, I basically have changed my business from those inconsistent months to consistent 10K months. For the financial year, finally hitting my 6 figures, I launched one book, got signed to publish another, which is due for release September 2026. My husband was able to take an entire year off work after being burnt out running his own businesses since he was literally 18 years old. He's had this entire year off, and I'll tell you what he's been up to just only recently. I've been able to travel every few weeks. So literally we haven't had longer at home or from being away or staying away somewhere else for more than about 8 weeks. And there was 1 month that I went to Sydney twice, and then also went to Lang Lang, like with some friends for the weekend. We've just been everywhere and anywhere. We traveled the whole of January up the New South Wales coast, and from Melbourne, the entire month we were away, and I was working while away. And for when I wanted, how I wanted, and it was absolutely incredible. But literally, I can't even remember Phillip Island, all the different places that we've been to. Every few weeks we've been away. We stayed in Bendigo for a week, and just like I have realized that something about me is something very strong about me is I love a home base. I love my home base where I am in Melbourne, but also my soul gets itchy to be living my best life. And what fills me up is the freedom of being able to travel. So this has been the most amazing job for that. I was able to hire 2 new VAs for my work. So I currently have now 3 VAs. I actually hit like a capacity in my business by the way it was running. I ended up with too many one-on-ones, which I absolutely love my one-on-ones. But if I want to continue to scale my business, I had to, so more recently, I'm going to have to be cutting those and directing more people into my group. So I was running one-on-ones, group stuff, memberships in person. So I've run 2 Codes of Your Calling since November, which I'll talk about that in a minute. Had a new photo shoot, so a whole new rebrand to the Intuitive Leader, and had this photo shoot, which is such a huge up level on the photo shoot prior to that. Signed with a new mentor, my dream mentor, Sheila V, who I've spoken about on previous episodes, and she has been absolutely incredible this year. She's no doubt helped me to reach those 6 figures just with her guidance and how to restructure my business. Everything got restructured. It's restructuring again to be able to hold this capacity of clients. So everyone's now going to be, I'm going to have to shut one-on-one for a while. And everyone's going to have to be in the group stuff. And the stuff that I teach is like energetics, mindset, like helping you work on your limiting beliefs. I'm using my healing abilities, my intuitive abilities to coach you. You get light language activations, light codes, which I'll come back to and talk to you about that, as well as the strategic side. But I've learned like 95% of actually succeeding in your business is your mindset and the energetics and all of the things. And all of that is now tied in with my work, and that's what's in my group staff. So I've really been able to bring everything that I have into this new way. And there's been so many ups and downs, roller coasters on this year, particularly. Like the biggest spirals of like, far out, what am I doing? I can't do this. This is too hard. Ever since my husband stepped back, and then I was the breadwinner. But I am going to tell you all of the things that I actually did this past year to change my mindset, my energy, to up-level my intuitive abilities, to up-level my income, my capacity to hold a higher level income, and it's still going up. Watch this space. A year from now, I'm going to double what I fucking made this year. I tell you now, and I will have doubled the impact of what I've made this year. I'm going to tell you all of those things. I have a reality shift masterclass that's coming up. So it's going to be August 17th, 12 p.m., but there will be a replay available 2026. If you are listening to this prior to that, sign up. The link is in my show notes. If you're listening to it afterwards, you're still going to have access to the replay. So check out my show notes, or just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Ms. June Mac, and I will send you the link to catch the replay. But in today's episode, I will be telling you not all the things I did, but all the things I didn't do. So cutting out like how to become the intuitive leader, and the things that I hear every excuse under the sun. I cannot do what you do because I've got kids. I cannot do what you do because I work a 9 to 5. I cannot do what you do because I have no time. I cannot do what you do because I do not have the money to invest. Like literally grinds my gears, because I'm like, dude, I came from working a 9 to 5 and I transitioned into this, and I have put in like tens of thousands of dollars in mentoring in order to become the person I needed to be able to run this business. And I have children, and I actually have more. The time that I invested back then means that I have more time now with them than I ever fucking had working in 9 to 5. And I started out literally like 10 minutes, in between waiting for them at school drop off and doing this meditation or watching this class or this course. I had to schedule in, and it took time and effort and accountability to be like, I'm putting this in the calendar. This is my non-negotiable time to work on stuff that lights me up. And it wasn't because at that point that I wanted to create this huge business. It was literally to make me happy and to fuel my soul fire. And after I had my third baby, Joni, she's now 2.5. I knew that it was time to make this into a big thing. And it was my time to be out there and help humanity, raise the vibration of humanity, help humanity learn that they have everything that they need within to trust themselves. And also to show humanity that there is a different way. You don't have to be fucking, do you know how many people freaking hate their jobs? That they're feeling so unaligned in their life and unfulfilled and drained, and they don't know where to go. And you don't have to subscribe to that. You can actually choose and co-create the reality that you have. But anyway, reality shift masterclass, there will be more on that.
Quick little stoppy to maybe encourage a little shoppy. If you are ready to use intuitive intelligence to build a life and business rooted in purpose and extraordinary success, insert the Intuitive Leaders Academy. This isn't a space where you just learn intuition. It's where you step into the identity of a leader who is deeply connected and unwavering in your own self-trust. No matter where you are at on your journey, I have a pathway inside to suit you, including customized intuitive coaching to suit your desires. This is the premier container for the new era of multidimensional leaders, having already empowered hundreds of clients to create massive global impact. Whether you are just starting out or ready to scale your legacy, your next evolution begins here. Check out all the details in the show notes or reach out to book in a free call.
But a couple of the things that I didn't do this year. So I did all this working around 15 to 25 hours a week. I should probably time track myself and see on average around about how much it is. Some weeks would be probably at the most 25, but I would say on average is maybe around 20 hours a week. But it is very up and down. Another thing I didn't do was have a huge following. So I managed to get to consistent 10K months on under 2,000 followers on Instagram. So, I mean, and I have clients that have around I've spoken about this before, 400 followers on Instagram, making more money than clients that have 40K followers on Instagram. It's about creating the community more so. And this is something that I teach inside my programs, is how to do it without a huge following. I didn't work a lot of hours. I cut out things that drained the fuck out of me. So things like energy leaks, things that were taking from me and that were holding me back from stepping into more of what I'm here to do. I sort of cut all those things out. And this is why I've brought on and invested in more VAs, is because I should be doing more of this. They can do the back end. So now I've got someone helping me with my podcast, helping me a little bit with content. I'm still inconsistent there. But like, it just shows you don't actually need to be posting every day, or 3 times a day, 5 times a day to have a consistent flow of clients. So that's something that I teach as well. And then I've got someone to help me with the administration side, and then another one as well that helps me with the administration side, but they kind of do 2 different things. I wasn't chained to my desk, so I'm able to work from anywhere. And if I want to go to a cafe and just like lighten the mood, I've really learned that energetics is the main part. So something that Spirit have been saying to me in the last couple of months is there is no need to do more. There is a need to be more and to hold more, energetically speaking. So making sure that my energy is right in the morning. So just before recording this podcast episode, I was in the shower pumping the music. The kids are all out today, so I could dance around and just get excited and get pumped and bring that energy to the right place to draw in whoever's listening to this. I truly believe you're supposed to be here. There's going to be something from this episode that you can take with you and, energetically sending you those vibes of unlocking whatever it is that is going to help you in your life moving forward. So I didn't do this job while being away from my kids. Like, again, working 15, 25 hours a week, I usually work the mornings, and then by around sometimes 12, sometimes 1, I'm done. And I have the whole afternoon to be with my littlest and then pick up the kids from school and then have the whole afternoon being fully present with them. And I stopped running, nighttime things because that was something that just wasn't aligned with me anymore. I wanted that time for my family. Now I was working slightly more hours. So I haven't had to work nights. I didn't have to be away with my children. I've been able to travel. I don't have to do any things that drain me. I do some things that drain me. There's a couple of little things, but most of it I pass on. I haven't worked a lot of hours. I don't have a huge following. I'm just here to show you that you get to decide what your reality is. As long as you trust yourself, you trust spirit, and that's the whole foundation of everything. And that's really what I teach, which is how to freaking trust yourself. But what I'm working on currently is the capacity. So capacity to hold more clients in a different way, because I was holding a lot of clients, but where I was giving a lot of my energy, and I can't do that anymore. I'm still giving away a lot of my energy, but it will be more so in a group situation. And that was just more of my own self-belief issues. Like to feel worthy, I felt like I needed to fully be holding their hand through it. And I'll still be holding your hand, obviously, but it's like at some point you have to attract the clients that are ready to do the work without me constantly following up on you. And this is not all my clients, right? This is only a couple. Most of them majority of them, I would probably say 98% are fucking go-getters and are creating the results and just living their best lives. But then there's probably that 2% that weren't doing the thing, and I was too much hovering over and making sure they were doing the thing, and I can't do that. I can't continue to do that. Like, the goal moving forward is to attract the clients that you give them the work, they do the fucking work, they obviously check in when they need support, but I don't have to be following up. It's like, I don't know, it's like a needy helicopter parent, really. That's just me checking myself. And what I was doing was enabling them to only rely on me and not on themselves. So anyway, like I said, about 2% of my clients, not all of them, but moving forward, I cannot do that anymore. So updating abilities. Obviously, I think last time, if you've been following the episode previously, I spoke about my light language being activated. And if you don't know what light language is sounds that come out of your mouth that hold a healing frequency, energetic healing frequency, depending on what the intention is. Like sometimes The intention might be for healing. It might be to activate their next level self. It might be to activate their light language. It might be to let go of limiting beliefs. And I will channel, or whoever does it channels the different sounds and frequencies to activate this within another human. So as you know, there's sound bowl. What sound bowl does, it helps to clear energy and things like that. And different people have probably done a lot of research around like sound and the frequencies that it holds. And that's what light language is. And it sounds different depending on who's channeling it and what energy they're tapping into. My energies that I connect with a lot are a lot of Egyptian, goddesses. So it actually sounds quite Egyptian. I am actually going to be uploading also a light language activation in the upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun. To activate your light language is what it's for. So something crazy that has been happening. So I ran the Codes of Your Calling, which was my day event, which was around activating your mission. It was around activating your intuition and changing your reality and plugging you into a higher timeline. That was my intention for that event. And that was completely channeled from Spirit. And Spirit said, you're going to run it in Melbourne first, and then you're going to do Sydney, and you're going to do the Gold Coast. And last year, when I probably last spoke to you, I had run it in Melbourne. So this year I ran March in Sydney, Codes of Your Calling, with a beautiful Shannon, the intuitive guide, who has been my beautiful friend and business partner for 2 years now, in the Intuitive Leaders Academy. And that was amazing. Yeah, it was, I have no words. Basically, when I first started running the Codes of Your Calling, I was like, I'd be happy if I could get 4 people to come. And I had around 21 in Melbourne. I had around 15 in Sydney and around the same amount, 15, 16 in the Gold Coast after that. But that has been one of the most biggest learning curves. And I actually will do an episode on all the things I've learned about running in-person events. Because I think I ran about 5 in total, like including my book launch. And things like that in the 1 year time period was about 5 events. And I learned so much about how to run them successfully and things to do to promote them. And there's a lot I'd change next time around. I feel like I'm not sure if when I am going to do an event in Melbourne towards the end of the year, I'm not sure if it's going to be a Codes of Your Calling or something different. I'm not sure if that's run its course. But the Sydney one, so something crazy happened to me. I felt like before my November Codes of Your Calling, my light language was activated then. So it was like, you need this to help the people in this Codes of Your Calling in the November event. So we're going to activate your light language. So that happened. Then before the March Sydney event, I went to a retreat in Sydney, literally the week before, and had my Kundalini activated. So Kundalini energy, which, look, I am not an expert in Kundalini energy. I didn't actually know a lot about it when it first happened, but it was a retreat and I didn't actually know they were going to do a Kundalini activation there. But Allura Halliwell, that's the retreat who I went to. She's been a previous guest of the podcast, and I went to that retreat, and on day 2, she did a Kundalini activation. And that was one of the wildest experiences of my life that I didn't even know was going to happen. And I've continued to work with that energy, and it's been one of the most amazing, beautiful gifts I've probably ever had in terms of my abilities and things to work with. And that is something that I'm actually going to be studying moving forward to become a practitioner of how to activate this in others. And the reason why I'm going to study it is because what happened is I was activated, and the next podcast episode with just me is going to be a full episode on Kundalini activation, just by the way, and my experience with it. So basically what it is an energy that helps it's coiled at the base of your spine, and not everybody's is activated, not everybody's is ready to be activated. But when you're at a certain vibrational level and it's ready to be activated, it can spontaneously happen. Somebody else can activate it for you. You can activate it yourself. But obviously I was very ready, because in the next episode, that's just me, I will talk about like the things that were happening prior, before this happened. And it was definitely leading me into it. Like Spirit knew what was going to happen, but it was one of the most craziest experiences of my life. But basically what it does is it's called to the base of your spine. It's activated. It's the first time this energy is able to move through your body, because you're a clear enough channel. It moves up and through, And as it moves up and through your body, it vibrates out any lower density energies, anything that's ready to be moved out of your system. So like a healing modality, really, that is not for your highest and greatest good. And so the more that is vibrated out, the more light body you can attain for yourself. So the higher vibration you become. I will go into much more detail, but it's a whole wild experience. It's crazy. Anyway, so I was activated in March, one of those weekends that I was in Sydney. Then the following weekend, I ran the Codes of Your Calling in Sydney, and people started spontaneously being activated in Kundalini energy, which was not my intention, but I did have a download, or I'd had received information that this is what was going to happen. So I was surprised, but not surprised. But if I hadn't been activated myself, I wouldn't have understood what was happening to these people. And, you know, when you are activated in Kundalini, it makes your body shake. It makes your body kind of like rise up, move around, because this energy is trying to vibrate out anything that's lower densities. And some people spontaneously start crying, screaming, laughing, but it's going to release whatever needs to be released for you. So it's a very individual experience depending on what you're going through. But I had people, you know, who'd either already been activated prior and they were having that experience during my healings at Codes of Your Calling, and others who hadn't, but they were totally fine. I did let them know, you're okay, it's fine, I'll explain to you what's just happened. I had people then activated in light language from that Codes of Your Calling in March, from my light language, and I guess whatever energetic upgrades happen, you know, in those in-person containers. So that happened. And then I had May Codes of Your Calling, and before in Queensland, Gold Coast, and before the Gold Coast event, I started during my own experiences with Kundalini, because I'm able now to activate it on my own whenever I want to use it. And, you know, to vibrate out whatever needs to be vibrated out, I started seeing light codes. So light codes are drawings. Actually, if you're watching this on video, I've actually got some of mine next to me. So I can show you an example. So don't mind my daughter's drawing on it as well. That's her texter, but something that looks like that. Everyone's look differently, depending again on the energy that you are receiving. But basically, that these particular codes were channeled with the intention of whatever is going to help the Gold Coast Codes of Your Calling people energetically upgrade to get them where they need to be. These are the codes that they need to work with. And basically there's multiple ways you can work with them. You can just look at them, you can meditate with them, you can visualize using one of the particular symbols and moving that through your chakras from top to bottom. Sometimes having them on the back of your, you know, your phone, background, and looking at them regularly can help to energetically change. And so I started seeing these light codes, and I couldn't stop like drawing them with my finger and just wanting them to write them out. And they started out really messy and not having a proper form. And then they started coming out quite clearly. And now I actually work with these light codes in my programs as well. So depending on what the module is about, so you could probably see a few of them there. They've changed a bit since this time. But depending on what the module is about, so inside the Intuitive Leaders Academy, so the Little Psychic School got a rebrand. So that's a rebrand. The Little Psychic School is now the Intuitive Leaders Academy. So inside the Intuitive Leaders Academy, there's 3 pathways now. There's the Awaken pathway, which is for the sort of people that are just newly awakened at the bottom, learn your own adventure. There's the Collective, which I've been channeling for this particular program. Depending on what that module is on, there will be a specific light code to help them integrate that learning. So the first 3 modules in the Collective are around boundaries, so creating boundaries with spirit and in your life to become a clearer channel. The second one, I think, is to do with around alignment, and the third one is to do with activating and understanding how your intuition works and being able to align with a higher timeline as well. Anyway, so light codes have been happening, and that's what I used in the May Codes of Your Calling for Gold Coast, and that was with Mark Zan. So he's one of both Shannon and Mark are my previous clients who I worked with him from the beginning of sort of their awakening, and have stayed amazing, like friends and in contact with them since then. And so Mark is an amazing healer. Shannon did the sound bowls, and they brought to the Codes of Your Calling like codes that I don't have. So, just different ideas, understanding of, different things that we were talking about. So yeah, that's what's been happening there. The umbrella term and the rebrand I worked on with Sheila, and that's where we came to the intuitive leader, because it basically covers everything that I do. And it just rounds everything up. I have loved calling myself a thought leader in intuitive leadership, which is so many leaderships, right? But so that's me in terms of what hubby's been doing. So the last, maybe it was like 2 months ago. This sounds so crazy. I'll get him on another episode. But something that he's obviously really passionate about, if you've watched previous episodes, is cars. And he's been wanting to be a limo driver and have his own limo for since he was a kid. And since he had about a year off work, living his best life, having the best time, he's come traveling with me. He's helped me so much in what it is that I've been here to achieve. And he finally felt like he was coming back to himself and really understanding what's important and not to burn himself out again. And that joy is really what you should be running your life from. So if you want to be in alignment, just follow your joy. That's how freaking easy it is. And so he bought a limo. He bought a limousine. So he started a new business, and that's actually been going really well. We haven't finished setting it up. He doesn't have a website or anything yet, but he's been working, because something that we've learned as business owners is that an imperfect something is better than a perfect nothing. So the car's not fully done up yet. It's still got a few bruises. It's still got a few hiccups. We haven't had professional photos taken. There's no website, but he's fucking doing his thing. And he's got I think he's had 2 jobs this week. And this is basically running off, no website, just Instagram following, and word of mouth. So he's been absolutely loving that and having so much fun. And how cool is it that we've got a fucking limo? I had a girls' weekend a few weekends ago, and he was able to take me and my friends and drop us off. And I feel so fancy. But it's an old limo. It's a 1998 Ford LTD limousine. So Unlimited Limos, guys, look them up on Instagram. It's my hubby's new biz. Unlimited Limos in Melbourne, Yarra Valley. So yeah. If you have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or reach out, I think, in the comments here. I don't gatekeep a lot of my, information. So if you were to work with me, you can completely pick my brain around what I did and how I did things, because I share it all in my programs. And thank you so much for being here and for listening and retuning in. If you're an old loyal listener, I appreciate you so much. And if you're a new listener, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I have no doubt that if you've made it to the end of the episode, you're meant to be here. There's something in this for you. And I'm really excited to see, how that pans out. So have the best day, guys. And I cannot wait to record more episodes and tell you more about everything else that we've got coming up. And, oh my God, I cannot hang up. See, there we go. Untamed, guys. Totally untamed.
Aw, thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the Intuitive Leader Untamed podcast. This is where we're breaking free from outdated ideas of what it means to lead from intuition and stepping into a new era of multidimensional leadership. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean the world to this small town gal if you could please take a moment to rate, review, follow, and share the podcast with someone who really needs to hear it. To learn more about working with me, head to junemac.com or come say hello on social media on all platforms at Ms. June Mac. Thank you so much for being here, for investing in yourself, and for being part of the intuitive and untamed movement.